Hello again. I'm sorry. Let's try this one more time. I need to make sure I don't have my mic muted. How about that? So, I'm Will.
That
That's
helps.
Andrew. And we're cookies enabled, everybody. Sorry about that. Really got to figure out these controls. I really am sorry about all the issues we've been having, but hopefully you're hearing us loud and clear now. So,
I will know in just a moment. So,
so I wanted to say that thank you for everybody for watching our latest episode, which is the Mandela Effect. It came out 2 days ago and has already seen a pretty good viewership, considering our previous episodes are usually single digits here and there. This one skyrocketed in the first few hours. It had several views. So thank you for everybody that tuned in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. If you haven't checked out the Mandela episode, definitely give it a look-see. It's over on our YouTube channel for sure, and it's listed under main episodes. You can also should be able to just search the Mandela Effect and cookies enabled, and we usually pop up. So it's not usually too hard to find. So I definitely want to touch on that again today, because that's a huge internet fad right now. Everybody seems to be kind of into. Even a couple of my coworkers are sucked into some of these videos and whatnot. And I really did that whole video in one giant take. I don't even know, what was the raw footage like length? Was that like over an hour of me talking, Andrew?
actually, the one clip that I ended up using and pulling from without any audio issues was only like 20 minutes. So I
Okay,
only cut out outside the logo and everything. I cut out maybe 2-3 minutes.
so not bad.
Pretty much, it was one go, and it wasn't bad at
No, that's
all.
pretty good.
So
That's pretty good. I'm
I was pretty
I'm
pleased.
usually a total stutter case, and I have to repeat myself and do that. Okay, reshoot. But I was having lots of audio issues transitioning from room to room during the reshoots, so none of my audio came through on any of our reshoots. So hopefully that video makes sense. We will probably be touching on it again in the future, but definitely uh, it's a little less more of just a crazy internet fad that is kind of taking over and be kind of what I like to call um, stupid me. I can't even remember what I was going to say. Uh, what is it when everybody's going crazy thinking of the same thing? Man, I mentioned it in the episode. If you can remind me, slap me in the face.
I I'm drawing a blank as
It's in the
well.
house episode, airplane or airborne, I think is what it
Are you
was.
talking mob mentality? No,
Um,
because that's a little different.
yeah, it's kind of essentially uh, you're just spinning out a conspiracy and just kind of bringing it to life rather than trying to find evidence to the contrary. Like a true hypothesis. And so I tried to dive into more of the psychological side of things, and I think a lot of people really need to know that the misinformation effect is really what's behind the Mandela effect. And so that's what my video touches on, is the misinformation effect, what that is, what that means. Yes, it is a true technical syndrome, not necessarily, but it's listed in the DSR, which is, if any psychologist or doctor knows, they probably have one on a shelf. I surprisingly don't, because they're
Oh,
extremely expensive books. um, but they're very useful. um, I did have a couple in college, actually, and I used to check them out of the library all the time and use them during my psychology classes, but haven't needed them since this last episode. So please check out the Mandela Effect if you guys haven't already. I think you'll all find that pretty fascinating. We talk about the show House MD. If you haven't watched that, that's on Peacock right now. You can watch all seasons for free. I think it was also on Netflix as well, but it might not be on there anymore. Fringe, which was a Fox TV show for a while, really good. Pretty sure that's on Hulu at the moment. If it's not, I'm sorry. I can't remember. I know Vudu has it, and I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon as well. But definitely check that one out. That one really dives into a lot of fringe science that we'll probably be touching on in future episodes too, because there's some really cool stuff that they definitely touch on in those episodes. And one of them, and actually in several seasons, they talk about kind of the Mandela Effect and multiverse theory and stuff. So check out that show, and let us know what you guys think.
One I saw. Andy mentioned it after I had finished, and I didn't see it. But here's one for you. On the, it's not the sarcophagus, but it's like the head, like bust of King Tut.
Right.
What's on his forehead?
I have no idea. I feel like I should know this. I don't.
A lot of people think that it's a like a snake, you know.
But isn't it the
It's a bird.
See, I was gonna say it's that like Horcrux thingy, that like the hook in the circle and it has a cross through it.
A lot of people think that it's cobra, but it's an actual.
Yeah.
It's a bird. For some reason, it's the whole cobra. So that's another one that
intriguing.
is always.
I had no idea. But yeah, so again, the whole Mandela Effect thing is really cool. I love that. I know I talk about Pikachu, I talk about Mr. Peanut, and the Monopoly guy, and the Wizard of Oz. That was a huge one.
What's his name? Something Pennybags, I think.
Oh, the Monopoly guy? He does have a name, and I just call him the Monopoly Man, and I know he has a real name. I'm sorry about that. Probably should have looked that up. I thought it was Mr. Pennybags.
Rich Uncle Pennybags.
Rich Uncle Pennybags. Who would have thought? Huh. I'm trying to think if that R-U-P-B Rupabu. That's not a very good name. Anyway, Rup. Anywho, so definitely check out our Mandela Effect. That one's really cool, and I think it'll blow a lot of people's minds because that one's been huge. It's hugely. I mean, some of the other videos I watched on YouTube had millions of views, so it's definitely well received and looked into for sure.
Well, it's a fun concept. I mean, everybody has experienced it in one manner or another. Mm-hmm. Something they remember differently than is in actual reality. So there's always going to be that fascination.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, switching news here. We're going to switch gears to, we'll talk about the SN11 launch here. I have a little video.
We finally have SpaceX news.
We have SpaceX news. Oh my gosh. Kind of cool. Let me see if I can get this video up. There we go. Awesome. So
all right, let me pull mine up here. So let me know when you're about to play, and I will hit play as well.
Here we go. Let me restart. Okay, so play. There we go. And this one's the short one. This one's like a minute long or something, I think.
Mm-hmm. I cut this down from NASA spaceflight. So what you're seeing, it was very foggy that day, unfortunately. So they didn't really get any good footage, but you can see the orange glow at the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's just the diffused light from it taking off. You can hear it. I'm going to mute it because you might hear it from my end as well.
I was going to say, I can hear it, but I haven't. Yeah, I'm not actually playing the audio.
But and now we transition to when it's landing, and this is right at the end of the belly flap. That bright orange glow was, as they call it, a rapid unscheduled disassembly, and now you can see the parts start to fall. It even knocks one of this camera off kilter a little bit.
Oh wow! Yep.
The tweet from Elon Musk here in just a second. There was an issue with one of the Raptor engines. I'm waiting for it to pop up so I can read it because I don't remember exactly what he said. But
no, it didn't. Oh, it doesn't play it on this one.
Oh, I thought I kept that in there, but
sorry,
I guess not. Issue with one of the engines, I think, some of the fuel pressure, and it just exploded before it even managed to land. But again, as he said before, every time that they fail like this, it does give them more information to make the next one better. So now we're going to jump from SN11 up to SN15, which will be the next one launching.
Oh, yeah.
And with their pace, it's only been, 3-ish weeks since SN10 landed?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think within 2-3 weeks again, we're going to see SN15 go.
2 months, they're going from...
This is a different design.
Right.
SN15, a lot of design changes from SN11. I'm hoping that a lot of the issues might have been, fixed at this point.
We can only hope.
We're gonna find out, but they are doing this at such a breakneck speed compared to anything else.
Right.
They're approaching the speed that we tried with the Apollo program to get us to the moon. It really, like I've said before, it comes down to money. If you pour money into something, enough of it, and give the funding and the time, we can do things really quickly.
Right.
No, the COVID vaccine, even that, that's what happens when you don't have to deal with half of the red tape and half of going back and forth on, well, can we get the money to do this study? No, well, we're going to have to do it slower then. We have to get this grant.
Right.
When you throw money at something, you can figure it out. One thing I will say, and I think you wanted to get into this in just a second too, with the COVID vaccine, and I want to touch on this in a later episode as well.
We're definitely going to do a main episode on the vaccine for sure.
One of the big I hear people complaining about is, well, I don't want to get this vaccine because it's been rushed. How could they possibly do this in 9 months? And one of my old teachers, my 6th grade teacher actually, she spent later on studying and teaching a lot about epidemiology, virology.
Yeah.
And remember the virus it's SARS-CoV-19.
Yeah.
In the year.
Yep.
In 2002, SARS-CoV-1 was identified.
Yep.
So we knew what this virus was and how it worked, and we realized this could one day become an epidemic.
Absolutely.
And Obama, in one of his speeches, had even said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to have some airborne or virus like this that will become a pandemic. That's why we had a pandemic response team. That's why we've been studying this virus family since 2002. And they figured out, they isolated some of these spike proteins so they could start, 17, 18 years ago, developing the basis of a vaccine, knowing how to make it work, how to synthesize those spike proteins so that when it happened,
they'd be ready.
Just sort of, let's take the main research we've done and let's tweak it for this new version.
Right.
But hopefully these proteins will still be there. And if they are, we can get a vaccine out quickly, which is what they did. So this has been studied and researched for almost 2 decades.
And it's still being researched. Yeah, don't doubt for a second that they've given up because they've got a vaccine now. Like we're done, guys. Good job. They're like, okay, get back to work. This is going to be a.
Well, you had conspiracies too, saying, oh well, Obama's, talking about when a pandemic hits, they had it planned. No, we just know how viruses work, and we know that if one of these zoonotic viruses crosses from animals into humans, that it could be bad.
It could be very bad.
Be prepared. We're working on it in a lab.
No.
That's one of the other theories I saw, is that there's a lab right next to the open market in Wuhan, and that's where they designed it.
No.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's bullshit.
No.
It's not real.
Didn't happen.
This happens. This is not the first time it's happened in the history of humanity.
And it probably won't be the last. Everybody needs to keep that in mind as well. We discover new species and things every day, all the time. This is definitely not a thing of the past, okay? So this is...
By the way, I heard that you just got your first dose of what they're calling the Fauci ouchie.
I did.
The best name for it ever.
I did.
After having my second dose, I get why they call it the Fauci ouchie, because I felt terrible for an entire day. Oh, hey, my friend Todd is watching.
Hello.
It says, hey, Todd. Todd is a friend from high school, middle school, actually. We've known each other for so many years. Yeah, nice to see you popping in there, man. I hope he's still watching. It says only one viewer, but it also says Todd Manstrom's watching, so maybe he's still watching.
That's pretty cool.
He is cool.
Well, I am appreciative that anybody is watching at this time, so thank you, Todd. Good to see you guys. and hopefully
So
we're sharing some
the vaccine. Yeah, we
interesting.
got our
Yeah,
second dose.
I got my first shot.
You got your
It went
first
really
today.
well. I did get it scheduled through my local Rite Aid, and I have video footage of me going in and coming out. They wouldn't let me videotape this part of it. I think it's mainly because they didn't know how, if I was going to have an allergic reaction, you know, and I'm sitting there with my phone and I'm like foaming at the mouth or whatever. Like, they don't want that, you know, it's bad publicity. So I think that was what was going on there. Obviously, you know, it's been hours since I've had the shot. I think at least 2. So I'm feeling fine. I'm a little tired, but I also work ridiculous amounts of hours. So I'm always tired on my day off. So that's pretty normal, actually. Like, that's no different than how I normally feel. So far, so good. And in fact, and you'll hear me mention this in my little video that I took of me leaving, is that the shot really didn't feel anything like a normal vaccine shot, at least for this one in particular. It was really quick, and it's actually, I think, probably one of the smallest needle pricks I've had in a really long time. Like, wow. I didn't feel it. Mm-mm. Yeah. This pharmacist knew what she was doing. Yeah. It is a bigger dose, and it's twice as much in the second dose. So of course you're gonna feel a little more pressure and stuff. It's probably more like a. Oh, I thought it was. I thought it was double, but maybe. Oh, maybe it's the concentration that's double. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Oh, okay. So maybe I am wrong. So mine was technically the Pfizer one, but it was manufactured through, not.
BioNTech.
Yeah, so it was technically Pfizer,
Yeah.
but it had a different manufacturer name on it because they're manufacturing their product.
God.
Because they're just trying to boost. Everybody's getting the boost right now, you know, so.
Guess what happened?
I'm sorry, say again?
Guess what happened?
What? Oh, no. I'm sorry, everybody. I have no idea why that keeps happening. I know it will come back at some point. I don't know what's happening. I haven't changed anything on my side.
It always seems to go
What is
for like
going
30 seconds.
Right. It's like little blips, and I haven't even changed anything. Is my computer going to sleep? No. No. Anyway, sorry, guys. But yeah, so the vaccine went really well for me. This is just the first shot, obviously. The second one, I do have 2 days off. Nice. So I do have 2 days off for my next shot, and I will probably be covering as much as I can. What you need to know about me is that I have gone through a huge medical history of literally being put into a chemically induced coma because of a viral infection that was attacking my body. And I ended up going to Mayo Clinic way down the road about a year later after I saw Henry Ford and a few other amazing doctors and clinics as well. And Mayo Clinic did a bunch of tests on me. I literally saw every department of Mayo Clinic, which is the coolest hospital I've ever been to and the most organized hospital I have ever been to. They even have taxi systems, so if you miss your appointment, you can be taxied in to someone who missed their appointment, and they'll have all your documents ready to go. So they're like, okay, here you go, ready, poof, and you're in your appointment. Super awesome. Really nice people, super smart doctors, but they found out I have a T-cell deficiency. So 1/3 of my T-cells are just a little lazy when it comes to viruses for whatever reason, and they just don't really recognize there's even a problem at all. And this is what almost killed me, and why this virus was just ravaging my body. And this is a virus that 80% of Americans get over their lifetime and normally recover with just mild stomach cramps and a high fever for a few days, and that's it. They don't even need treatment. They will never go to the hospital for it. You just get over it, and it feels like the flu. And that's what most Americans would just claim as the flu. You usually get it as a kid. I somehow missed it as a kid and didn't get it until my 20s. And as you get older, it gets worse. And so that's why it almost killed me. It attacked my liver. It attacked my kidneys. Tried to go for my eyes. Luckily, my eyes weren't a hit. My lungs had a little bit of a take there as well. But they also, again, was in a coma. So that also is a huge take on your lungs. So a lot of problems. And that is where I get a ton of my medical history because I lived in a hospital for a really long time. And I got to know a lot of processes, including like bone marrow biopsies and stuff like that, and how they work, what they do, ERCPs, terrible things. These are things you don't want to do or ever have done to you in a lifetime. Unfortunately, I had them done by really, really, really good doctors. Thankfully, good there, and that was what kept me alive. their geniusness and just awesomeness. So I got to thank you for all those doctors out there. But
I remember when
yeah, and so that was where I
that would do to affect your vaccination. So hopefully your second shot goes relatively well.
I'm hoping to. So far, so good. Anyway,
pretty sure after your whole scare, you're at least in 1 or 2 textbooks at this point.
Yeah, and they did actually enter me into a few studies at Mayo Clinic as well, and I never heard back from them as to whatever happened with those studies, because my immune system was extremely rare, considering that I have pretty wide background, like a little bit of ethnicity, just a tiny bit of like Native, like a drop of Native American in me, if you even want to call it that, because it's such a small amount. But that gives me immunity to poison ivy and poison oak. I can literally walk through a whole field and be totally fine, which is amazing.
See, I'm immune to poison ivy too, and I don't know why.
That could be why. It has something to do with it, because it's an oil-based transition to your skin.
My aunt is actually in an old textbook. She was one of the first people ever to get dental. It was like she had an issue with a hole in her heart when she was born.
Oh, wow.
So she gets the first like mesh.
Yes. I forget what that's called. I just watched a documentary on that, actually. It was really informative.
Because over the years, he developed something, I think it's called Langerhans cell histiocytosis, something weird.
Whoa.
But they're anomalies. So all 3 of you are in medical textbooks for some that the doctors are going, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, when I was at Henry Ford, they used to. It was a teaching hospital, and so was most of them. But they would allow the students, the student doctors, physicians and whatnot, to come in and look at me, because I was glowing yellow. I was completely jaundiced, and my eyes were completely yellow. And so they're coming in, and they're looking at me, and they're asking me questions.
Picture your doctors going into the class like, hey guys, you want to see something cool?
Probably.
Follow me.
We got a field trip today. Come on, guys. Because all the doctors in the hospital pretty much got an alert that I was there. I mean, when I was brought to Henry Ford, there was a poor man in the ER holding his thumb together, bleeding out. And I was brought in before this man, and I am sorry. But this man was obviously on some kind of drugs, too. And so I think they were waiting for him to kind of sober up a little bit before they started, operating and pulling out needles and things. So I understood what they were doing there, but and I'm obviously highlighter glowing in the dark yellow. So obviously I'm about to die. I need help. So they got me in first, obviously. And I also had a fever of like 102 or something, I think, when I got there. And that was at like 4 a.m. So they immediately rushed me in. I think I had an MRI, antibiotics. That ended up being something super simple called C. diff, which just was because I was in the hospital for so long, and then I had gotten out of the hospital. I ended up getting sick again and had to go back to the hospital. Ugh, what a headache. And of course, the original hospital I was at wouldn't take me anymore. So, because I'm such a problematic case, they wouldn't take me, and I had to go all the way across the state, 3-hour drive, just to get help. Wow. So,
well, you're good now, and
I'm alive. I'm here. Thank you.
I say I'm really, I feel not fortunate. It's really nice to see. Every day on Facebook, one of my friends is posting, just got the vaccine, just got the vaccine.
Yes.
So I'm so excited. Everybody out there that's getting the vaccine, all my friends, good job.
Thank you, everybody. Like, it's
We're all doing
group
the right thing.
effort.
We need to do this together.
Yep.
And I love seeing so many people say that they're getting it and that they're excited for it.
Yep.
And if you're on the fence about getting it,
do your research.
Really
look into it.
The research.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Message one of us, ask questions if you want. We can point you towards the proper studies.
Oh yes.
There's misinformation out there, and trust me, we are going to have it's going to be at least a 2-parter on COVID.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's going to be a massive episode.
I think we'll probably be doing that sooner than later, because right now you are noticing a difference. Especially deaths and hospitalizations are trending downward.
Yep.
In most notably in the over 65, over 70 crowd,
Absolutely.
which are
Thank
the
goodness.
portions of they're the portions of our population that have gotten the most of the vaccines. They were the
Right.
first ones to get it. So we see those hospitalizations diverging on the graphs
Right.
compared to other populations. But now that Michigan is opening it to
Mm-hmm.
16 and above, so many more states are. I guarantee you, this is when we're going to start seeing those. Yes, cases might be rising,
Right.
but
I
deaths
think it'll level
and
out.
hospitalizations are what we need to, you know,
Yeah.
what we need to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
And those are starting to reduce.
Yep.
And don't go on spring break. Don't travel if you
Or
don't
if you
need
do,
to.
go somewhere remote where you're not surrounded by a crowd of people. Right. Go
And
camping.
don't
Go
for a year,
anywhere.
We can do a few more months. Come
Right.
on, everybody.
It's not that hard. I mean, I know it's been really terribly long and unbearable, but what's worse is being stuck in a hospital bed and or on your deathbed, because that's not fun either. And I have actually technically been in both. So, because at one point they had no diagnosis for me and you could have flipped a coin to determine if I was going to make it to tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, I've literally been there. This is not a joke. And when this whole thing started and people were out there saying that COVID was just a joke and it's just a lie, we don't need to wear masks, I was furious. This is not a joke. Viruses can kill you. It has happened to me. It almost took my life away. And I have so much, I mean, a medical book that is double the size of the New York phone book easily, like just because of it. And that's one reason why I know so much about this stuff, and I'm so interested in science and this whole medical field of, you know, the especially the vaccines. And this one was definitely not rushed. Just like Andrew said, this one was methodically thought out. And because of all of the funding and the global crisis, these companies put their rivals aside and decided to work together, which is like really unheard of. You never have multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies sharing secrets with each other. Like, what?
Yeah, what was it?
Are you kidding me? Like,
Johnson and Johnson, or was it Moderna? They started working with their rival Merck to
yep.
manufacture the vaccine.
And this is what we need. This
every
is what
other
how
part of their company
Yep.
and every other part of their marketing, they're probably still rivals, but this was
and they are absolutely.
this isn't about us making money, guys.
It's
This
about
is about
saving
us
the world.
We're going to work together.
Yes.
So
yes. This is a team
It's
effort.
serious.
There's no one company that did it all, and no company is trying to get all of the credit for it. And that is exactly how this needs to go, because this is an everybody all in kind of situation. I kind of am on the fence with making it a mandatory situation, maybe for 16 or 18 and over, or whatnot. But I mean, kind of like the hepatitis and whatnot ones. I mean, you got to have all of these by certain ages and whatnot. I definitely don't hate that idea. I think that's a little far. But
it's a
I
touchy
mean,
subject.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm
one way I see
always
it,
a big
is-
pullback on federal pushes,
Well-
but you know, I see why it is necessary though,
Public schools tend to require vaccinations
Yes,
for
they
kids
do.
before they go in.
and I am okay with that.
I haven't looked into the law specifically, but from what I was told, it has been ruled constitutional to mandate vaccines
It is.
during an epidemic or a plague.
Absolutely, absolutely,
So,
and this would constitute that. You have more
I
deaths
would
than
say
like
so.
all of World War I or
I mean,
something.
you can't mandate every single person to get it no matter what, but
Right.
I mean, I think this sort of thing to travel, either you get the vaccine, you show yourself as, or you show yourself as negative. There's has to be something
Right.
in order to travel, especially internationally or to places, because it's not, like you said, it's not a joke.
No, this is definitely serious. And I'm sorry if there's maybe you're surrounded by propaganda and it's just popping up and telling you that this is just a hoax and whatnot. I'm sorry, but you have to just try and walk in someone else's shoes for just a day and just try to see it from as it is and as it's being presented, and see if that helps maybe kind of sway your opinion towards the vaccines. Because I can get the idea that, oh, they're full of this, they're full of that. I mean, they literally gave me an ingredient list of exactly what they were going to give me today. I mean, there's no mercury, there's none of this weird crazy stuff that they're talking about, there's no microchips. This is absurd, okay? And this just needs to end, really soon, because I know they're all working hard on
microchip us to begin with. We have
Right.
They have our phones they can track us with. Why do they need to put one in?
We got speakers everywhere. There's one. Like,
fit a microchip with a transmitter or something where they can watch what we're doing into a vaccine through that gauge of needle.
and you know what? Okay, here's
Deserve to put it in. If you can figure that shit out.
Here's how this really works. You really want to know? This is how this could actually work, is that they don't even need a microchip. If they really wanted to track you, they would just need to like use some type of radioactive material like bromine, and just a tiny little bit can be injected into you, and that can be seen from space, from satellites. They can track radioactive material, and poof, there you are. This is how we use MRI machines.
We all have
it's the
Alexa.
same idea.
We all have Siri. We all have a Google Home. We have our phones.
Yeah.
They know what we're doing because, well, you talked about it in the episode on cookies. They don't need to microchip us.
No, please check out the cookies episode. The Cookies Explained episode, yes, covers absolutely everything we're talking about right now. One reason why I needed to get that one out there is because those banners are explaining why they're there, because they can track you more with those web banners than they can, and your cookies, than they can with a freaking vaccine microchip in your body. Okay, this is just ridiculous, people. This is so ridiculous. We need to stop blowing things so far out of proportion that they just seem so unlikely. Like, I don't know. This is not everything can be a conspiracy either. Okay, so we need to put that aside too. Okay, well, this is legitimate science. People are literally dying. I just watched a documentary on how they reopened an island in New York just to bury dead bodies, just because they have COVID vaccines. This is the same island that they used to bury like random bodies, like unidentified homeless people, people that had HIV and all kinds of weird diseases like polio, and all, they'd bury them on this island so that way they weren't contaminating other places. They won't even let you visit this island, right? At all. It's completely restricted, and it's completely abandoned. I think they call it Death Island. If I'm not, I could be mistaken. I don't really remember exactly its true name, but that's the lingering name that New York doesn't want you to know about, but it is there. So just so you know, that's where they're burying all those bodies. And it's super sad. They stack the babies like 7, 8 at a time, and like in these tiny little boxes. It's so terrible, and they're unidentified, and it's so sad, and it just makes you want to cry.
Well,
so it's terrible.
Let's take that. Let's move to something a little lighter.
Yes,
and that was actually a good transition with what you were speaking about with one of our old episodes. In the first episode we did, you focused on the history of computers.
Yes.
Well, no, the second episode, because the first was 5G.
This is true.
History of computers, with a big focus on Alan Turing.
Yes.
And we all know how that ended. His legacy was tarnished for so many years.
Oh, it's terrible.
But just recently, I had saw in the UK, the Bank of England has decided to commemorate him on the 50-pound note. So I think you have the link you can put up.
I do. Yep, I just put it up for us. So this one is on Associated Press by Ban Payalis. I'm probably screwing up that last name. I'm really, really sorry, Paul or Pan. But this is an amazing article, actually, and I love the footage they have here.
Pan Pilas?
I know I've heard that name before, but I can't.
Pan Pilas. Yeah. It works. But, I mean, this is a small gesture, of course. From what I've read, some people are saying that it is kind of underhanded gesture because 50-pound notes are not used that often.
Right.
People aren't carrying as much.
Right.
But it's still...
I think it's a big deal. That's a huge deal. They don't change that very often.
That gave us.
Right.
Everything that he did during the war effort. And the fact that if it weren't for him, we would not be able to do
There you go. Literally.
Yep.
This is legit. Like, we would not be able to do anything technological today, technically, without this man. I mean, yes, we would still kind of have certain things. Like we would probably still have electricity. We'd probably still have some kind of phone. But it would not be a digital device. Digital is key because this man...
I think it would have eventually happened.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Bill Gates had never...
It wouldn't look like
Microsoft,
steampunk phones. Can you
I
imagine?
think at some point that progress, but it's the fact that it was him.
Right.
And so many people didn't know about him for so long just because the government wanted to sweep it under the rug.
Exactly.
But they're finally doing something, which is... it's nice to see.
It is. It's really cool to see.
More, but the start.
Here's the old one with the Queen, which is very good. I think they did a good job. And then here's the new one. You can see here's Alan in the background here. Let me see if I can find another. They got the rainbow flag up. And I mean, this is huge. And I really, this is a massive push because poor Alan, like I said, his poor history was just brought to a terrible end. I mean, he was swept under the rug and torn up and beat up and, I mean, just forgotten about. And so this is one way that they need to get back to helping and supporting and reinstating who he was and what he did, not just for his country, but for the world. We're talking World War II wouldn't have ended pretty much without this man. I mean, you can kind of say it still would have at some point. Definitely.
But not the way
not at all the way it did.
Interestingly, you mentioned the Queen on the note. She, because the UK's or England has had so many territories and colonies,
right,
over the centuries and decades, she has been on so many different forms of currency. That you can actually watch her go from like 20-something up to now.
Wow.
You can watch her transition. I'll see if I can find
That's cool.
the transition later. You can watch her age on currency because she has been on so many. She's one of the most recognizable people in the world. But the fun thing is, have you noticed that whenever she goes out, and like in public, she always has this extremely bright, flashy dress.
Yeah.
Apparently, she does that because she's afraid if she didn't, nobody would know who she was.
Oh, interesting.
She thinks they wouldn't recognize her unless she goes in like full neon green dress with hat. It's like,
how are they not gonna? You're on every.
They would. They would see.
Okay.
Within 10 minutes of them being past the Queen, they probably stopped into a shop and bought something with a piece of paper that has her face on it.
I mean, come on.
But you never know. I mean...
I don't know. Anyway, that's...
If you're not paying attention, I don't
No,
know.
I mean, it's very... I think that's one reason why I like the U.S. note system, where you really have to be dead to go on a note. You can't be a living person to go on any of our bills or coins. You have to be dead. Did you see they're
moving forward with having Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill?
Yes, I love that. I love it. I absolutely am so excited.
I'm so excited.
Can't wait to get one. I'm so excited. Yes, Harriet Tubman. Yes.
Let's get a slave owner off of the bills and let's put some other people on.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm thinking about everybody. I don't care what president you were. If you own slaves, get off the bill.
That's really how that should go. Okay, so you had some other articles we wanted to talk about here too. We have an octopus from NPR that we wanted to talk about. I think, right? Wasn't this one?
Yeah, I had that one. That was really interesting.
Cool looking. I did not read this article. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Well, we've always known that octopus, octopi, whatever you want to, both pluralizations are okay.
Right.
We've always known that they're extremely intelligent. They have very good problem-solving skills. Yeah. They really don't have a centralized brain. They've noticed that a lot of their neurons and neural fibers are throughout their body.
Interesting.
Even through their tentacles. But I mean, they're an extremely ancient species or family, I guess. But they started doing some more research into the neurology on these amazing creatures, and apparently they have, it says, alternating periods of quiet and active sleep
Ooh.
that make their rest similar to that of mammals, despite being separated by more than 500 million years of evolution. During their active periods of sleep, their skin color changes, their bodies twitch.
Wow.
And they think they even have short dreams. Now, we don't know the level of consciousness. Obviously, they don't have
Right.
a verbal language like we do, but dreams are
I mean, that's a basis for intelligence. I mean,
it's your mind sort of repairing itself,
Right.
filing things away into long-term, short-term memory, different types of memory.
yep. We also
So
talk
it-
about this in the Mandela Effect.
Sense that a creature like this would also have some of these more advanced abilities.
Absolutely.
I mean, to me, it makes sense. I've seen some YouTubers talk about this, and then it's like, well, is that going to change your mind on eating octopus? And
I already don't want to eat octopus.
I love it,
sorry.
but at the same time, like, it's I guess. I know that's another
Another episode, yeah, probably.
But either way, I mean, these creatures are incredible. They can differentiate colors, shapes. They can
Yeah.
call themselves how to open
They can
jars.
do puzzles and things. Yep. Yep. I've seen them do
They're
some crazy
really,
stuff.
Really cool. Stuff you should know. It's one of my favorite podcasts. They did an entire one on octopi years ago. I'll have to
Right.
dig that up, repost it. But they are incredible animals. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a Netflix documentary out there about octopi, which I've heard is really.
I really
cool.
wouldn't doubt it. I don't know though. I cannot guarantee that. I was gonna say they're probably one of the coolest creatures I've ever
It's
seen.
called My Octopus Teacher. So anybody out there,
yes.
I really need to check this out, and you guys do. It's called My Octopus Teacher.
Yep.
It's about a filmmaker that apparently he forged some odd friendship with this octopus. I think it was a South African kelp forest, it says,
Wow.
according to Netflix. So I've been lazy and haven't checked it out, but I really think I should because, yeah, they're smart, they're intelligent,
Right.
and apparently they could possibly dream.
I
which-
love that. That's so cool. Love it. Absolutely love it. I am so excited about that, just because it's just cool to know that other animals and things are a little more complex than we imagined originally. So we do have one last thing that we wanted to touch on, which was the kind of mind-blowing news about our new rover on Mars. I always forget the name.
Oh,
I'm
are
sorry.
you talking the link I sent you, the helicopter?
Yes, the helicopter
Yeah,
with the Wright brothers fabric.
Yeah, we discussed this, I know, a few,
So cool.
Many weeks ago when Perseverance landed,
Perseverance,
and
thank you.
it has the drone Ingenuity. But I read, and apparently this is the third time that this has happened, but there is a small, roughly 1 centimeter, like postage stamp sized patch of the fabric that was the wing covering for the Wright brothers 1903 flyer.
There you go. There's
one
the
that
fabric.
made the first 180-foot flight. So the first powered controlled flight on Earth.
Yep.
A patch of the fabric is, I think NASA said, literally taped to the underside of the Ingenuity rover.
Yep.
So a little bit of the first powered controlled flight on Earth is going to be riding on the first powered controlled flight on Mars. And the other two, I don't remember the second. One flew aboard Apollo 11. I know that.
Interesting.
And then I believe one flew in one of the shuttle missions. Let me go back to the article. It might.
I don't know that one.
But it's happened twice,
So,
which I think is
definitely not a first for the Wright brothers, technically. But I mean, to be on another planet and to be the first to fly on both Earth and on another planet. That's pretty awesome. I mean, what? Like, and thank you to the engineer that did that, because come on. Massive. Can I give a thank you? I mean, that's just genius. Like, especially if you're going to spend billions of dollars, you might as well,
have some fun.
Right.
Well, the article says in 1969, the Wright family. So like the descendants who have control over their entire
the properties of the brothers and whatnot. Yep.
They gave Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong pieces of the muslin and a splinter of wood from the plane's left propeller to fly in the first moon landing mission.
First moon, yeah.
And a different piece of fabric flew aboard the space shuttle Discovery when John Glenn, one of the Mercury astronauts, when he returned to orbit aboard the space shuttle in '98.
Oh, that's so cool.
Two monumental events in spaceflight history.
Oh. And
they've carried little bits. It's
just so
it's
cool.
It's a nod to where we started, and to think, 117 years ago.
Yeah.
Was when this happened, and now
we're flying on other planets.
We've got a drone that's about to fly on Mars,
and we're controlling it from Earth. Like, what?
It makes sense that we can put this up there.
And, so cool.
It's a good, nod to the Wright brothers and how human space. If it weren't for them, again, just like Turing, just like Gates, all of these people, if it weren't for them, we would not be where we are now.
Really, that's exactly how this goes. I mean, it really is a combination of their just ingenuity and their ability to bring us their science and find a way to make it easy to kind of mass produce and or replicate, and so we've found ways to really, even without Alan's technology that we didn't even know existed, there was some computer science still going on, but it wasn't until we learned about what he had done with computers that you have this massive explosion of technology, and you get circuit boards and digital computers that we use every day in everything. And so cool. I did just read last night about a new battery that uses crystals and what was it? The depleted uranium cores or something like that from nuclear waste stations. They have found a way to compress these into tiny micronic layers and turn them into batteries. Apparently the crystals absorb the energy from the radiation and convert it into electricity. Okay. But it's just a really, 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 really tiny amount of electricity. So you need a bunch of these chips to get you power, but they can last for like 28,000 years or something like that without running out of power or something.
Technology in its infancy, but if we develop it, it could...
The nuclear crystal battery or something, I think is what they were calling it. But I have to do more research on this before I bring anything up in our next article. So I will definitely have more on that for you, but just wanted to at least mention it, kind of like the warp drive, which is really cool. And I'm still doing more research on that one. We're going to have to do probably some Star Trek episode or something and go into warp drive.
I would love a Star Trek episode.
Oh my God, yeah. Communicators and... what's the thing? The tricorder. That's something that is a piece of technology I have wanted, and I think theta waves will be our answer to the tricorder. Theta waves. Keep that in mind.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a Facebook glitch, but according to this, we just jumped from 1 viewer to 6 to 10.
Oh, hi everybody! Hey, hey guys.
Let's hang on here. I think we were about to go. Who's
we
in
can
here?
we can totally stick around, everybody. Leave some comments.
I'm seeing. Oh, now down to 7. I don't know what this is. I'm seeing.
You're good, guys. You're good. Let me see if mine's showing. I have 9 viewers, so yeah, it looks good.
Here, everybody say hi.
Hey guys.
We've got about a 10-second lag until they actually say something, but
yeah, please leave us some comments. I know right now we're kind of rambling on different topics, but yeah, these crystal batteries could literally be an answer to a huge power problem that we're running into. mainly because we're running in a digital world right now. I mean, everything in my background has power. Everything I'm surrounded with has electricity and creates some kind of electrical current. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. And you can thank Alan Turing for all of that, literally. I mean, he's the one that came up with the idea to digitalize information into what we use today. And so this is huge. I think we have to give a huge thank you to Jobs. Steve Jobs as well did an amazing job coming together with Steve Wozniak, the great and powerful Woz, to create what we know as Apple. That is literally how he should be known. He needs a statue, that man. I mean, he walked away from Apple with literally pretty much nothing, including zero recognition for what he had done, even though without Woz, Apple would have been nothing. Like, literally, he did everything at the beginning.
He was a little more level-headed, I think.
Yeah. But
he kind of just we needed him to rein in Steve and be like, just calm down,
pull it back,
out the handle, don't fire someone today.
You're starting a civil war in the company.
Might not be the best business decision.
Yeah, you know. I know you could not talk Steve Jobs out of anything, and I think the only person that has ever said that they could was Bill Gates. And to this day, he still says that they never actually fought. It was more like really long discussions, and they'd have like whiteboards and things they'd be writing on and talking about each other and doing stuff. But you stole this and you did that. But they weren't like at each other's throats. It's nothing like what everybody assumes you would imagine these two amazing rivals to be.
You touched on that when we did the history of computers.
Yes, we did.
You know, of Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Yes, thank you.
Scene where he invites Bill Gates in, and he's dramatically leaning against the piano with, I believe, Beethoven playing, and he's yelling, "You're stealing from
me!"
I wouldn't put it past him to try to make that dramatic thing, but I doubt it actually happened that way.
I hope it did. I really hope it did.
Yes.
Poor Bill.
Stealing from
walking into a situation like that.
But even there, at the end of that scene, you have Bill Gates going, no, we weren't. And look,
I didn't steal from you. Let me show you the code and how I didn't steal this from you, because my code is very different, and it might look exactly the same, but it's not exactly the same. And he explains why and explains his way out of it. Now, of course, we all know what happened in court. First time he goes to court.
He was probably, you know, Bill Gates is smart. He was quick on his feet. He was probably like, oh shit, Steve Jobs knows I need to talk my way out of this.
Right.
So, but again, these are events where no one was really around. We only have anecdotal evidence. We have stories.
Right.
It would be amazing, like, to just be a fly in a wall for that whole decade.
Oh my gosh, please.
Incredible to see.
Please come out with like a Pirates of Silicon Valley 2 or bonus or something, because the story ends really right before like the iPod, iPad, the iPhone, and the huge explosion of like Windows XP and Vista, the crash and all of that baloney. And oh man, that is where things really twist.
Ashton Kutcher, Steve Jobs. Who should we get for Bill Gates though? Not the original guy. We need someone new, but I don't know who.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people.
Oh, here's a fun one. Jim Parsons.
Maybe. You know, that's not a bad.
He doesn't really have the features, but I think he could pull off the character.
What about the guy that plays Sheldon?
That's Jim Parsons.
Oh, okay. So we're on the same track. I always get that name wrong. I'm always thinking his name is.
Necessarily, but I think he could pull off.
I really see it.
The embodiment. He's
put some glasses on him, and
he's like,
you know,
half as wide as.
And I think he could do Bill's mannerisms, because Bill was actually really crazy as a kid and kind of wild, and didn't like to do his schoolwork and stuff, which is obviously why they dropped out.
Oh,
and
fun one. If you probably dyed his hair a little bit.
Right.
Ezra Miller could pull it off. He's a little witchy enough.
Yep. That's true. That is so true.
That would be.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that one. So there's some
Anybody
options. I mean,
watching this, either now or later, post in the comments
please.
your ideas. I would love to see other people comment on who they think should play Bill Gates or even Steve Jobs in a new movie if they did it,
Yeah,
because
they
there's got to be
really
fun
need to
for them.
do a Gates movie. They
Tell us what you
need
think.
Warner Brothers, if you're listening, or Universal, whoever's out there that's listening. If you have any pull there, please make a Gates movie. Why has this not been done? I'm sure you have writers that want to jump all over that. I mean, that story is gold, and the fact that he's still making and doing things for our planet right now is amazing, even though he's not working for
Even get
Microsoft
Bill
anymore.
Gates on as a consultant to be like, no, I never said that. That's not right. He's still alive. Use him while you can.
For real, he's still alive, and he only has a little time left. He's probably one of the busiest mans on the planet right now. So you really need to like get in there, get to that Gates, and let us
for
know what that
marketing,
story
here's
is.
the studio. They work with Bill Gates. They make it as accurate as possible, and they come up with an agreement that a certain percentage of tickets sold or
Goes to his
money
foundation.
made from streaming services gets donated to the Bill and Melinda
Yes,
Gates Foundation.
yes, that
So
needs
you
to
can
happen
tie it in
100%.
because nobody's going to theaters right now. They're subscribing.
Yep.
You could make a bunch of money,
Yep.
and you could also do something good.
Now, technically,
So,
Netflix already
do
is
it, Alex.
doing.
Do it.
They have the Inside Bill's Brain, I think is the series, and it's only 3 episodes. It's really super good, and it shows what he's done since he's retired and how he's using his billions of dollars, and literally he's putting it to good use. He's trying to keep the rest of us alive for generations, and we give him so much bullcrap. It's really sad that a lot of people have a negative connotation of Bill Gates for some reason still, and I don't know where this come from. Like, I mean, I know Windows isn't the best thing in the world, but he doesn't even control that crap anymore.
Everyone goes, they say, yeah, he's rich, he's a billionaire. The issue with some of these, though, yeah, I don't think anybody really should be a billionaire. That's too much money. But also, they're not all just hoarding wealth.
No,
A good chunk of that money that they're worth is stock.
That's true.
It's
He's not
options,
literally
what
rolling in
stock
billions
that
of dollars.
if they sold that, the stock would tank to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeff Bezos. He can go. He can sit and spin.
Absolutely.
For all I care. I don't know. Blue Origin, they're not doing much.
No.
They've landed a few things.
Yep.
But I'm more on board with SpaceX or Virgin Galactic, because Richard Branson.
Oh my God!
Everything that I've been able to research, he's one of the cool CEOs.
Yeah, he is.
I like.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos can no.
Well, and what about
but Bill Gates? He's doing everything he can. He's donating a lot. He's I think part of the 99. They call it the 99% crowd. They will donate everything to charity when they die.
Yep, and he's actually one of the first to start that.
It's very complicated.
But he has done. You can thank him for so much solar energy stuff and anything like because of his algorithms. That him and his team were able to come up with. I gotta say team because I know he works with teams of people, so it's not just Bill. But he did work with a team of people that found a way to take just the sunlight and mirrors to get to like 2,000 degrees boiling, or like temperature wise, which is what you need for melting metals and industrial complexes and stuff, which we've never been able to achieve this before. This is not something that's like, oh, that's easy to do, just get a mirror and a magnifying glass. It doesn't work that way, and that's why this is so important.
It's also pushed so much for healthcare and vaccination inoculations in third world countries.
Oh my gosh, pretty much because of him, polio is almost gone.
Polio is gone.
It should be completely gone. I know it comes and goes, it seems.
Eradicated. No.
Is it gone? I mean, I honestly haven't checked in a while.
A few years ago, there were a few minor strains in a few cases, but at this point,
it is gone.
I believe the World Health Organization, WHO, they classify polio as an eradicated disease. Yeah, it is gone. The only known things that we have of it are just in um, what's it called? Are just in like laboratories,
Oh,
very
right.
safe,
Okay.
very protected
Yes.
laboratories, because we do need to at least be able to study it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's
But
a
in terms
dangerous.
of
Yeah.
infections, polio has been eradicated. We've
Hmm.
done that with multiple uh, multiple
Oh,
diseases,
yeah.
multiple viruses over the years,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
we just have to keep working at it.
Yeah, and I really think this will be another huge venue. I know there's going to be other people other than Bill Gates, that will pick up where he leaves off. I would be really surprised if not. But it's just, it's sad to see. I feel like if Steve Jobs was still around, I think things would be a little different. I think he'd be really pushing Apple into more of a charity standpoint and whatnot as well. And I really
I
don't
also
know
think
what
Apple
they're
would be
trying to
coming up
do.
with some better products.
Right. I mean, come on. I don't know what's happening, and
I
I
think
feel
I
so
talked
bad
about
for
that before,
Apple.
but
Like,
I mean, Tim Cook is great, but he doesn't have that
sorry, Tim.
spark of just inspiration that Steve Jobs
No, he
did.
didn't.
It's like, hey, let's make a smartphone, and now he's like,
Tim's
let's
like, I just want to run the
make
company.
another
You guys come up
smartphone.
with the ideas. The thing is that you don't have your idea man anymore. So if you don't have your idea man, what company are you running? You're just regurgitating the same things over and over. And so I feel really bad for Apple because I feel like I know they have things up their sleeve, and I just don't know why they seem to be sitting on them right now. And I don't know if they're waiting for someone
I
or
think they
something.
really don't know
Or...
how to push the innovations. I mean,
Okay.
they're doing the same thing
Right.
every year, like each phone. Okay, and they're regurgitating
Mm-hmm.
stuff. One year, the first iPhone had nice curved edges.
Right. Right.
The next generation,
Box.
flat edges,
Yeah.
then curved, then flat,
Yeah.
and now the last one flat.
Flat.
It's just
Oh yeah, now they're
it,
pushing durability.
again,
I
it's a
saw the
fashion.
commercial. They're like, "Oh, I can drop my phone and get it wet." And I'm like, "I have been able to do this literally for generations. Like, I can't even remember the last phone that I couldn't get wet." So for them to just be getting to this is like, okay, shame on you, Apple. First of all.
Or how many people do you see with iPhones with a cracked screen versus Android phones with a cracked?
Like, everyone. Come on. I mean, and what's really sad is that most of them are in OtterBox cases, and it's like, what are you doing to your phone?
How did you break it in an OtterBox? How?
I don't know. I don't even put a case on my phone.
iPhone,
I
and
just dropped this
have
on
a
concrete
case-
the other day.
case
It's still
mate.
fine.
It's not even an OtterBox.
Right.
And it's still fine.
Yeah, as I say, I just dropped mine the other day right outside because I put it in my lap and I get out of the car and I keep forgetting it's in my lap, and then it just falls right onto the concrete. That's a good 3 to 5 feet right there, and it just and fine, totally fine. I got a couple of scratches along the edge there. That metal ring is getting nicked up, but I plan on keeping that phone, so I don't
You got
care.
a scratch on the side of your phone.
It feels weird when I touch it. I don't know. Come on, there's nothing wrong with it.
I've got an LG. It's got Gorilla Glass 6
Yep.
or 7. I'm not going to test it, but I could probably tuck this from my balcony and it wouldn't crack.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously not going to test it. I could drop it in the sink and it'd be fine. But it's solid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the
I love
rumors.
Apple. I love my Mac.
Yeah.
But I don't like the iPhone. I'm never going to like the iPhone
I don't
unless
either.
they come up with something really cool.
And I really think what's going to happen is that I think what we're going to start to see, and this is what I'm hoping, I'm really praying for, is that we start to see a pull away from the phone and more to smart separate devices. So you can have a smart watch and smart glasses, or like a smart hat, because I like to wear hats, and this is something I feel like that should easily be coming out. I don't know why they're not yet. Like, why can't I get a smart hat that can like tell me the temperature and like play me music and shit like that? Like, why is that not a thing? I don't know.
Honestly, because you don't need it.
I need it. I need it in my life. Okay,
No, you don't.
I do. Make this.
Well,
But anyway,
get on it.
Anyway, so yeah, no. No, I think
Well,
that's going to be more of a breakdown, and we'll be using less connected. Instead of having one central device, I mean, you'll still have your phone, but it'll be like in your bag or your pocket or whatever. You know what I mean? You're not going to be
at some point though,
using
you don't need, like I've seen smart rings and shit. It's like, just give me my phone and my watch and my headphones. That's really all I need.
Well, the smart ring is kind of cool. If you have like a QI card, you can use it.
But the ring is going to do the same thing that your watch can. It's going to. So what?
Exactly.
What's the ring going to do?
It's just NFC.
To measure your heart rate.
Right.
It might vibrate if you get a notification.
Right.
And you could pay with it. I can do the same thing with this.
Yep.
And with my. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yep.
Like a hat. Okay, you touch it and it tells you the weather.
Yes, I want to know. Tell me the weather, hat.
You could just as easily say, "Hey Google, what's the weather like today?"
Well, what about the?
Oh, and now my Google home just currently in Ann Arbor, it's 46 degrees and sunny.
Mine didn't hear you, thank goodness.
Partly cloudy.
Oh man, but no. So yeah, I think we really will see a pull away from.
I apologize for everybody that plays this. That I just activated your Google Home.
It didn't activate mine somehow.
I did not mean to.
But no, I think we covered a good amount of stuff today, and
I'd say so. That was a pretty long.
That was a good session.
stream.
Hopefully, everybody stuck around for us. I know we've had some.
What happened with those people? We went from 1 up to 10, and 5 minutes later back to 1. Maybe 10 people were in. I didn't get comments.
I don't know. That's interesting. Hopefully,
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Check in next time. Talk with us.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Definitely check out our main episodes. Again, the Mandela episode, the Mandela Effect episode is out. And I know we also mentioned the history of the PC. That one is already out as well. That one's been out for a while. If you want to know more about Alan Turing or any of that stuff that we talked about. We do have another one coming out in a couple of weeks that will be getting to know your computer, which is, again, kind of a breakdown on what's inside, outside, how to turn it on. I know this sounds like really basic stuff, but for some people, this is a lot to learn. So we're going to cover it all, and I'm going to really break it down super basic. I'm trying to make this as awesome as possible for you guys. So that's coming up soon. Let us know if you guys have any other ideas you need for content. You know, like if you guys want to see something special, or if you want me to dive into a special topic or something, let us know. Throw it in the comments. Go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter page, any of them. They're all there. And we will definitely be checking in on them as well. But I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in today. I know we had some big numbers, which is awesome. But thank you all for tuning in. I will see you guys all later. Have a great day, guys.